Well, it is a historic day here in America. Yes, it really is. Today was the inauguration of our new president, Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump is our president. And this is the Yes, Donald J. Trump is our new president edition of the Stoop here tonight. I am your host, Jonathan Ragus. Alongside me is Jeff. Wishes he was with Melania Porrini. What's going on, man?
Oh, man. Now that is the best news I've ever heard. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Stoop. I, for one, am going to come right out and tell you that I'm happy to see Donald Trump as new president of the United States. Congratulations. We look forward to moving onward and upward, and hopefully he makes good on his promises and makes America great again.
Makes America great again. We'll see what happens. We're going to talk about this a little bit later on in the show. So stick with us. We have a lot of things to talk about. We're going to be talking about the inauguration today of our 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. We're going to talk about White Men Can't Jump being remade. Crazy. Chip Kelly rumor is starting to heat up. Where is he going? Is he going to the New England Patriots? Are they that dumb?
What?
Pierce Brosnan. Is he going to play Cable in the next X-Men movie? Interesting. We're also going to be playing some music tonight from our very good friends Lilith and the Night. We're going to talk about the death of actor Miguel Ferrer, which is where we're all shocked and saddened here by the death of such an amazing actor and such an amazing person. We're going to talk about the All-Star snubs to Russell Westbrook and Isaiah Thomas. And then we're going to talk a little NFC, AFC championship preview. And then, of course, you know I got to bring it up, Jeff. We got to talk Carmelo Anthony because, damn, man, there is nobody more dysfunctional than the New York Knicks. So we're going to mix it up tonight. We're going to have a little music. We're going to talk a little movies. We're going to talk some politics. And then we're going to talk some sports like we always do. But before we do that, Jeff, I have to ask you, how was your day?
My day was atrocious. It was raining. It was cold. Working my other job outside of the Stoop. It's always challenging. But all in all, I've been good. It's been a good week. Pennsylvania has passed a new law where beer distributors can now sell six-packs, single bottles, big-size bottles. And you know that jacks me up, folks. That's what I'm all about.
Hooray.
And I stopped on the way home from work, picked up a little nugget for myself. Won't be drinking it tonight. But that is just great news. So it's been a good week, no matter how bad the day is. I stick with the TGIF. I'm here at the Stoop on a Friday night, so I'm jacked. Can't be any better.
Awesome stuff. Let me tell you, and let me say this. I come from New York City. We all know that. Born and raised Queens, New York. I moved here in 2008 to the Philadelphia suburbs. Now, I come from a place where I could just walk into a deli, can grab a single beer if I wanted to, and walk out. Grab a six-pack, walk out. When I first went into a beer distributor here, and they tell me, seriously, they tell me, no, we don't sell six-packs. What you need to do is buy a case. I said, I don't want a case. I want a six-pack. Where can I go get a six-pack around here? You can go to the bar. I said, what? I go to the bar and sit there and drink. I don't want to go to the bar and buy a six-pack and bring it home. So this is good news. I'm not a big drinker anymore. We all know this now. But every once in a while, I like to have a few beers, you know. So it'd be nice to be able to finally go into a beer distributor and purchase a six-pack of brew. Ecstatic. Can't wait.
It's big news. I'm thrilled. And like you said, for years, it was case or nothing. And if you went to the bar to get a six-pack, you're paying, I don't know, what, $14 in Philly for a six-pack, which is atrocious. So
Crazy.
This law is big, and it's going to generate revenue and more money into the state. And, you know, it's good for business. I frequent a couple places. They're already just ecstatic with how much business it's bringing in, and better for everybody.
Absolutely, man. So we're going to talk so much stuff tonight, Jeff. But first, what we got to do is we got to talk about this past week. I did a show. Unfortunately, you weren't with us because you suck. We did an ode to MTS, and we had an MTS Music Hour here, which is the MTS brand by Michael Stover, one of the hottest and classiest PR guys in the music business. And we played music from our friends like Ed Roman, Madeline Victoria, Eddie Mann, Richard Lynch, Ron Anthony, so many great people, and we had such a great show, and it's getting some rave reviews and some good listens. I just want to let everybody know that I had a blast doing that show. Not because Jeff wasn't here, but because we got to listen to some great music. I know a lot of you reached out to us and said, I never heard of this person before, so thank you for, playing this on the air. And we just want to say you're welcome. We love to bring that kind of stuff to people who, pretty much doesn't go out looking for new music. And if you do, you pretty much look on the mainstream. You hit up the radio stations, you walk into an FYE, if they're even around anymore. Me, I'm still thinking Sam Goody's around, but it's not. And
Sam Goody.
Yeah, so it's nice that we're able to bring smaller people who are big in their genre, but not many people know. So you're welcome for that, and also thank you for tuning in and listening. I had a blast doing that show, and hopefully we can do that again as, the MTS clients start bringing out, new tunes, and, maybe we can even play some of the old ones. So we're looking forward to that. Big guest announcement last night here for the Stoop, and it's great stuff. Kevin Smith, When Coals the Heart, Eureka, Stargate Atlantis. He's going to be joining us, and I'm stoked about this, man, because I'm a Hardy. I love When Coals the Heart. Yes, I do. I don't care what you guys say. I love the show. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Erin Krakow, Lori Loughlin, Jack Wagner. Great show. And Kevin Smith is really one of my favorite actors. I think this guy is brilliant. I'm so stoked to have him here, Jeff. You know that. I've been on a high since last night. You know the face, but you're not really sure where you know him from.
I seen him in some of the Stargate stuff. I have not watched this show yet, and I will definitely tune in. And I know the face, and I'm excited to have him here as well. It seems like he's going to be an awesome guest, and he's got a tremendous following. I mean, the Facebook, Twitter, our website, a lot of people coming in, asking us what's up, wants to know when. More people learn about the Stoop. So we're really stoked to have him on. It's going to be an outstanding show. One of our best, definitely.
Absolutely. And we got to give a shout out to pretty much the best fan site for When Calls the Heart, and it's HeartiesWCTH.com. It's Hearties, Hearties, WCTH.com for just putting it out there, promoting the show for us. And we're getting some great questions to ask Kevin. Really looking forward to that. And, it's going to be a good show. So that's February 11th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's a Saturday show we're going to do, Jeff. You've never done a Saturday show before. How does that feel?
It feels great. I'm ready to do it every day of the week. I'll do it Monday through Saturday, or Sunday through Saturday. Get that right. So, yeah, people were getting their dream come true to get to spend Saturday with the Shark. It used to be a fantasy. It's becoming a reality.
Damn, you just scared everybody off.
That look on your face.
You just scared everybody off. Nobody is going to tune in now.
The big difference between Blog Talk Radio and now on Spreaker is I get to see John's every move, and you got to see the disgusted look on his face when I showed my excitement for being with you on Saturday.
And I'm breakdancing.
He's breakdancing, too. That's what you call it.
Forget it. Don't get me started on breakdancing, man, because you know where I'm going to go with that.
At first I thought he stubbed his toe, but apparently he's breakdancing.
Gotta be in my shorts, man. Gotta be in my shorts. All right, so let's get into this, man. The big topic today, it's the inauguration of our 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. There's protests going on, people smashing windows of Starbucks and banks and throwing garbage cans in the streets. Going nuts before this guy was even named President of the United States. He talked a lot, Jeff. He said some things he probably shouldn't have. We know that. He's not a politician. So that's why I think he said a lot of the things he said. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the guy. But do you think... How do I word this? Do you think it's okay for people to just go nuts before he even takes office and sees what he actually does? Or do you think the people that are out in the streets tonight protesting are justified?
I don't see any way on earth that there's a justification of it. We talked about this earlier today through messaging and text, and I said I honestly hope I don't go off tonight. I don't see the justification just because their choice of candidate didn't win, and they're so afraid of Donald Trump before he takes office. He's not a politician. Man is known more as a billionaire and a guy you see on TV. And he's a little brash at times, but that's what it always takes to be successful. To be a successful person in this world, you got to take chances. You got to be brash. You got to lay out the truth. You got to tell people how things are. Trump deserves a chance. And again, I'm not trying to step on toes. I wasn't an Obama guy. I didn't vote for Obama. But when he got voted in, I did not tear the streets upside down. Me and my Republican friends didn't go smashing windows. There was no justification. I don't care who it is, what the situation is, that justifies smashing public property. I don't care if it's an election. I don't care if it's a sporting event. I don't care what it is. There is no justification for smashing a property that somebody else built. It's ridiculous.
Yep, I agree with that. And listen, let me backtrack a little bit. We're talking about the protesters who are violent, who are causing damage to stores, mom and pop stores, people that have nothing to do with what is going on are going to have to go into their business tonight and tomorrow morning and deal with this damage to their property over something that they didn't do.
Exactly.
Something they had no control over. So we're talking about pretty much the anarchists that are flying around in the streets in D.C. and wherever else they're protesting in tonight and being violent. That's what we're talking about. Peaceful protesting, awesome, love it. There was protesters next to Trump supporters when he was going down and getting to the White House, and they were all, I don't want to say they were getting along, but they were being peaceful towards one another. In a lot of the areas, there were some arguments and whatnot, but it didn't break out into violence, let's say. That's cool. That's the American way, where people have different opinions, but they can respect one another while standing next to one another. That's what that's what it should be about. That's fine. We are talking about the people who are throwing garbage cans through windows, hitting windows with hammers, setting the limousines on fire. My question is to those people, what is that going to get you? No matter what happens, you're going to do all of that stuff. You can burn a building. You can get a building to collapse on itself. Donald J. Trump is still going to be president. It's not going to change anything.
Exactly.
So what's the sense? There is no sense in that.
No, there's no justified argument. There's no sense. Trying to find this quotation. I actually did this myself today. And some people retweeted it, got a lot of likes on Facebook. In quotations I put, speaking as a lefty or an anti-Trump, I put in quotation marks, I hate Trump. He's going to destroy this country. Close quote. Says the protesters that are literally destroying the country. They're out there wrecking the country, destroying buildings over their fear of Trump destroying the country. Act like an American first. Support whoever the president is first. If he bombs, if he's terrible, okay. You're going to get a lot of people that are going to support you in the fact that he's terrible and will vote somebody else.
Yeah.
Don't do it now. There's no need. The man hasn't even sat in his chair yet.
I agree. And I'll go out and say this. I was once a Republican because I'm a Ron Paul guy. Switched to Democrat because I'm a Bernie Sanders guy. And I wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders. I totally believed in Bernie Sanders. The Democratic Party pretty much crumbled and killed themselves for what they did for Hillary, but not for Bernie Sanders. I'm going to go as far as saying that. I'm sure it's going to piss a lot of Hillary supporters off, but it's the truth, and it came out. There was evidence that the DNC screwed Bernie Sanders over. And the only person that actually showed Bernie Sanders any respect and even said it on TV in debates about how it was a shame that Bernie got screwed was Donald Trump. Now listen, I don't like a lot of the things Donald Trump said. I don't. I think a lot of it was said in the haste of things. I think he just flew off the handle.
You talking about today or in general?
In general, over the last year and a half. He really put his foot in his mouth quite a few times. I get that. Listen, all Muslims, they're not terrible people. I know a lot of them. They're not dangerous people. I know very lovely, peaceful Muslims. The LGBTQ community, I know a lot of them. Good people. Let them do what they do. They're not hurting anybody. That's fine. you know? And I get why these people are so upset, because a lot of the stuff that he said was deflected at them. Wasn't deflected at you and me, Jeff. He didn't talk about, talk trash about two Caucasian guys and what he's going to do to the Caucasian community. He talked about those two communities specifically, which I'm getting off point. So here's what I'm going to say. I didn't agree with a lot of the stuff that he said. Some things I did. When he actually started talking politics and stuff he wanted to do, there was a couple of things I really liked. All right, so we got that out of the way. He is now our 45th president of the United States. We witnessed history today. I had a good time watching the inauguration. I do all the time. I wasn't an Obama supporter, but I enjoyed his inauguration. I enjoyed his speeches very much. I told you today. I said, I as a person, I could hang out with Obama, go to basketball games with him, and I'd probably have a great time with him. I think he's a nice guy, good human being. As president, I didn't care about him. Didn't vote for him. Didn't vote for Bush Jr. Didn't vote for Clinton. Didn't vote for Bush Sr. Didn't like any of them. I'm a Bernie Sanders guy. I really thought he was going to get it. So what I'm saying is I'm going to give Donald Trump the chance to sit in office, to start signing some executive orders like he did tonight, to start putting in some of the stuff that he wants to implement. And if he screws up, then guess what? In 3 years, we get rid of him, like you said.
Yeah.
In that fourth year, we start voting him out. But it really depends. Listen, if he does a great job, I would be happy to vote for Donald Trump for a second term. If he does a terrible job, you got to go, man. But we don't know what he's going to do.
It's that simple.
Yeah, it's that simple. We don't know what Donald Trump is going to do. So I'm asking, all of you listening tonight, if you're against Donald Trump, totally get that. Totally get that. But just wait to see what he does first. Because a lot of politicians, even though he's not one, he really is one now because he's president. A lot of politicians talk. Obama talked a lot of stuff he didn't deliver on. Same thing with Bush Jr., same thing with Clinton, same thing with Bush Sr., same thing with Reagan, same thing with Carter, same thing with Ford, same thing with Nixon, same thing with all of these politicians.
He's got the whole lineup.
We could go back. We can go back, man,
Yeah.
All of these guys talk, but they don't deliver. So let's see what Donald Trump actually delivers on first.
Yeah, and getting on that, I mean, when you talk about the things that Trump said in the past, he came in as not a politician. He wasn't polished. Yeah. So his game was to say what was popular. And at the time, anti-terrorism was popular. So he says the Muslims. And then he says build the wall because everybody wanted to hear how are we going to beat ISIS? How are we going to stop terrorism? This guy comes out and says, I hate terrorism too. Watch this. Ban the Muslims, ban the terrorists. Everybody's cheering Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just did what he like all politicians. He says what he thinks is popular. Just like any politician should go in and say, I'm going to lower gas prices, I'm going to lower taxes, I'm going to pat you on the fanny, and everybody's happy. You got to say the right things. Now let's see what he's got. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does a great job.
Hey, listen, he's the president of the United States. I'm rooting for him too because he's our president of the United States. We need him to do good. Like Bernie Sanders said, and Bernie Sanders is the king of protests. We all know this. Like Bernie Sanders said, I'm not going to go out and protest against America because that's what people are doing right now. He goes, I'm going to sit here, and if Donald Trump wants to work with me and go off of opinions that the Democrats have, we will work with him. But if he goes against what a lot of people stand for and he starts to do bad things, the American thing to do is for us to stand up and fight him on it. Bernie Sanders is a class act. He's a brilliant man. Please listen to those words from Bernie Sanders. In the chat room over at Spreaker, Mark Traverson said, and I quote, these people are preaching peace and being open, but then turning around and being violent. Breaking the glass at a Starbucks seems a bit ironic. Starbucks offers paternity-maternity leave, they pay student loans, and offer more than minimum wage. Isn't that what most of these people protesting stand for?
It's brilliant.
It's the truth.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
It's the truth. And listen, we're not attacking the Republicans. We're not attacking the Democrats. We're not attacking Hillary supporters, Trump supporters, whatever. You're a McCain supporter. You're weird, but we're cool with you too. we're just trying to tell you how we feel tonight. So it's kind of a little bit of an open forum. So if you want, head over to Spreaker. If you're not there, if you're listening on stoopradio.com, head over to Spreaker, jump in the chat, and send us a message, like Mark Traverson just did. And we'll read it and we'll discuss it, because that's what we do here. So, but please just listen. The guy's the president. There's nothing you can do. You could protest till you're blue in the face. Nothing's gonna happen. You could sign petitions. Nothing's gonna happen. I mean, seriously, for the people who are protesting, a lot of them are career protesters. What have your protests and what have your petitions really have gotten you in the last 20, 25, 30 years? Pretty much nothing. Not even a smile. So, see what he does first. I mean, is that so bad, Jeff?
No, not at all. Speaking of getting people in that chat room, if you're in the chat room and you want to send a message to the Stoop, make sure that one of the words is longer than 4 letters and doesn't start with an F. Seriously, we'd like to hear from people. If anybody out there at all, if this show reaches one person that's out there being a violent knucklehead, stop. Be an American. Put your red, white, and blue pants on, and like I said today, grab your lunch pail and let's go to work. It's another day. It's another America. Let's get to work.
Yep, let's do it up. So I guess congratulations goes out to Donald J. Trump, President Donald J. Trump. Listen, Melania looked great today, very classy.
Always.
Gave a gift to Barack Obama's wife. It was a very nice gesture. I think, it was a nice inauguration. Trump's speech was powerful. It was. And I actually liked it. I actually liked the speech. I liked what was said. What did you think of the speech?
I thought the speech was very good. Again, getting back to saying what we want to hear, but kept saying that it's our America, and we're getting our America back. And he said how Washington thrived and made their money, but it was a politician thing, and they celebrated themselves. Didn't give back to the American people. I like that. He said a lot of the right things. He really seems to be the common man, working for the common man. Here's a guy that's a billionaire, and everybody says his wife isn't from America, and he brought her here and made her this, that, and the other thing. Mm. Really could care less. Again, beautiful woman, looked elegant today. He looks like the common man because he's a worker, and he's out there working, and politicians don't really get their hands dirty as much as a guy like Trump has in the past. So I think he had a lot of good things to say. I wasn't really turned off by anything in his speech. I liked the delivery. It kind of made me feel warm inside, and you heard the Tabernacle Choir singing, and all that was just proud to be an American. I felt really good at the end. By the time it was over and I went back to my desk, I said to myself, it's going to be a good run.
Yeah. Especially if Trump gets you out of your job. You'll love him even more.
Well, absolutely. That might be it. We're going to campaign. We'll be Donald Trump presents the Stoop, and we'll thumb up every move that Donald Trump makes.
All right. Rather it be Bernie Sanders presents, but it is what it is. Let me say this, though.
I don't care if Gilbert Gottfried presents the Stoop, as long as somebody does.
Did I ever tell you when I shared an elevator ride with Gilbert Gottfried?
Really?
It was the most awkward thing.
It's got to be. He's just an awkward human being.
We were at no, he's actually a nice guy, but it was just an awkward thing. We were at a convention, and we were going past the elevators and going to another room where, some other celebrities were, and Gilbert Gottfried was getting on the elevator. So up on the second floor, they have a rock and roll room where they had, Don Jameson was there, Keith Emerson was there before he passed on, and,
very cool.
People from Vanilla Fudge. So I wanted to go up and see them because, I'm a big rock guy. But I wasn't going yet. I wanted to go into the other room where they had everybody from Monster Squad. So I wanted to see, Dracula was there and the Mummy and all these people from Monster Squad. So I wanted to go see them first. But I saw Gilbert Gottfried get in the elevator by himself. And I said to everybody, come on, let's go. Let's get in the elevator and see what happens. We jump on and I said, how you doing, Gilbert? He goes, good. And he puts his head down. And he's sitting in the corner of the elevator. And I said, and he gets off the floor before we did. And I said, oh, it was nice meeting you. And he goes, yeah, me too. He just walks off.
I can't believe he's that quiet. I figured he'd be one of them guys who would just go off.
Yeah, he was real. Like, I don't know if he was just shy or what. I mean, I know he's got a shyness to him, which is funny because if you see him on TV or you hear him on the radio, he's not at all. Especially when he was on Howard Stern, he was doing Black Dracula, which was just the funniest thing I've ever seen. But
maybe that's his angle, though. Maybe that's what gets him out of his funk, the fact he acts so over the top.
I think I heard that before, that it actually does get him out of that. But, you know, it was funny, so you brought him up, so I had to say that. But before we jump into other topics, one more thing about the inauguration today. I just want to say how I loved how Donald Trump and his wife Melania let their son Barron be a 10-year-old kid today at the inauguration.
Perfect. Yep. Best part of the day.
Loved it.
You said that before, yeah.
You know, the kid's 10 years old. The inauguration started at 11 o'clock this morning Eastern Time. It's 9:30 and it's still going. The kid's fidgety. He's bored. You know, his father being the president of the United States isn't as impactful to a 10-year-old yet. Sorry to say it, but it's the truth. You know, he was looking on his cell phone. He had a little napkin. He was playing on the vents of the radiator, you know, where they were sitting watching a parade. And, you know, it was great. And they just let him be. You know, they were watching him. They were laughing at him and letting him play with, you know, his cousins. It was nice. It's nice to see that instead of saying, no, sit there and just be proper. Be prim and proper. No, they let him be a 10-year-old kid, and I really like that about them. So that gave him like a point for me. That's how I felt.
What I think happened was Donald said to him, if you're a good boy today during your inauguration, you can listen to the live broadcast of the Stoop tonight on Spreaker. That's probably what happened.
Huge.
Huge.
Huge. All right. Let's step away from that because I'm sure people are just aggravated right now and don't want to hear any more about politics. So let's jump into the movies. The remake of White Men Can't Jump was sort of kind of announced this past week. What's your feelings on it?
Here we go again, man. You know that we here at the Stoop, while we support artists, we like originality. The remakes are blown apart. And I'm not popular when I say this. I wasn't a big White Man Can't Jump fan to start with. And it's not like a blockbuster movie. Why are you bringing it back? It wasn't the most brilliant concept. And I got to see it again? I mean, that's my take. I'm not thrilled.
You mean you don't want to hear Rosie Perez's voice?
No.
Why not? I know, it's the best part of the movie.
I was thinking that little snippet from that. I can't think of the name. Can't think of the name of the movie where she was married to Nicolas Cage. He was the cop, and he won the lottery, and he gave Bridget Fonda half the money, and she says, "Why don't you give him all the money?" You know, it can happen to you.
Yep.
And she says that, "Why don't you give her all the money?" And I'm like, "Shoot me!" But yeah, I can't. I really don't know why they're remaking this movie. If they're going to remake something, there is a humongous history of movies out there. They picked this.
And Blake Griffin's going to be a producer, which you already know it's going to be absolutely terrible. Okay, so let's say we agreed with this remake. Phenomenal job. Who would you cast as Wesley Snipes' character, Sidney, and Woody Harrelson's character, Billy?
Oh, that's easy. It's Barack and Donald Trump.
Nice. Nice.
Now we said no more politics.
I would do Joe Biden as Billy Hoyle. He'd probably get lost in the film. No, I wouldn't do that. But seriously, what actors would you choose? And would you choose an actual basketball player?
No.
Really? You wouldn't choose LeBron James as Sidney Dean?
An actual basketball player may not be a bad thing if you could find one that could act.
Michael Jordan. Bring him back.
So a guy maybe like Chris Paul. And an actor like Zac Efron. There's your White Man Can't Jump.
Zac Efron?
Why not?
Zac Efron? Terrible.
Why not?
Because you got to get somebody that's like really not in shape and is goofy. That's how I feel. You know, you look at Zac Efron, he looks like he could probably touch the backboard at least. You know, you got to get somebody that's like, I don't know. I should have thought about this earlier, but I really don't know. You know, Somebody like Hervé Villachez, somebody tiny.
Of course. Yeah, there you go. It could be Hervé and Ricardo Montalban. You could redo their Fantasy Island. Fantasy Island Can't Jump.
Man, that'd be great if they were in Space Jam 2 together.
Yes.
I don't know who I'd pick for Wesley Snipes' role. That's tough. I really don't know.
It is tough.
How about we go with LeBron James and Warwick Davis?
Warwick Davis, who I'd love to have on the show. He's phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely. Freaking legend.
He had that HBO show that was absolutely hilarious. It didn't last long, though. A short run.
No.
Well, no pun intended.
All right, here you go. For Rosie Perez's part, Gloria Clementine, we would go with Sofia Vergara.
Oh, absolutely. Now you're selling a movie. This is what it's all about. If you're going to get into remakes, let us help with the remakes.
Absolutely. Let us do it. And let me produce it, too, because I guarantee you I could do a better job than Blake Griffin.
Maybe we should do a White Women Can't Jump. We could find a couple beautiful women and put them out there instead. I'd watch that.
Sounds more like a porno. I don't know. I don't know if that's the route we want to go with our movie making.
Yeah, probably not.
Especially for our first debut film. But to everybody, listen, let us know what you think about the remake of White Men Can't Jump. We hate remakes here.
We do.
Except for TV shows. I love the TV shows. Fuller House, One Day at a Time. I don't know, for some reason, them bringing back Gilmore Girls, I liked it. So, but I'm not a big remake guy. Arthur, Dudley Moore rolled over in his grave. There's no question about it. And did you see that freaking trailer for Chips?
Oh my God.
Awful.
Oh.
Awful.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. The remakes aren't even cute, and this one just looks bad. There's nothing good about it, and on my no homo thing, I mean, Eric Estrada was the attractive, Poncherelli, and the actor that's playing him now looks like he belongs in White Men Can't Jump.
He might be casted in it.
Under athletic and short and nothing good about him.
Who is it? Like Keenan and Peele or some crap like that? Who's actually in it?
I'd watch that. That would actually be better.
Let's see who's in this new Chips movie right now. We're actually bringing it up right now, and Michael Pena is playing Ponch. I have no idea who. Dak Shepard is playing John. I like Dak Shepard though.
That's not bad. I can live with that. I mean, I'm not going to see the movie, but
yeah, I'm not going to. Michael Pena. Why do I know him for? He looks familiar.
He's been
The
in a lot of
Martian.
stuff.
I just watched The Martian not long ago. I forgot he was one of the astronauts trying to get him home. Great movie, by the way. If you've never seen it, watch The Martian. Absolutely phenomenal movie.
Pass. Okay.
Dumbass. See, these damn Trump supporters. No, I'm just kidding.
See that?
So listen, let us know what you think of remakes. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up, stoopradio.com, and hit the contact us form. Love to know what you guys think about remakes.
Yeah, maybe if you're going to comment, tell us what you think your favorite remake is, and we'll check it out. We'll see if it's any good.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Let me throw this out at you. What is your favorite remake of a movie?
Well,
come on, man. Off the top of your head, dude.
Yeah, that's tough because I really, I don't even know if I could say any. They're an actual remake.
Yeah, it's
a lot of them really just don't do it for me.
It's tough. If I look through them all, off the top of my head, I would say Overboard. Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. That was a remake from an old movie, I believe, from the 50s.
Okay.
I thought it was better, and I've seen both of them. So
here's the difference with that, though. Not to cut you off, but the difference in that is when movies were made in the 40s or 50s, there was less graphics, less budget. The movies were made different. So when you remake them in the 70s, 80s, got different actors. You can go a little more overboard with your budget, and you can go a little more wild with your dialogue, and it makes the movie a little different, so it's good. But nowadays, remaking movies are done in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, already has everything. So you're not adding much to it. My big argument was always the new Star Wars movies, Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3, the universe looked far more attractive than it did in Episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It makes no sense. You've kind of just you just kind of digressed this entire galaxy.
Entire galaxy.
If you get what I'm saying, I mean, you know.
Now you think about it, Karate Kid, I thought it was going to be terrible. It wasn't insanely bad. There was a couple of parts of it that I actually liked. Total Recall sucked. Red Dawn, awful.
Oh, I got it. My favorite remake, John Carpenter's The Thing. Kurt Russell version was really good. Scary movie.
It was. It absolutely was. It was. So what, you didn't... Well, I think it was remade again, wasn't it? Back in like 2010, 2011?
I'm not sure. I know it was a movie out before the Kurt Russell version, which I thought was really good.
Interesting. We'll have to jump into that. Maybe we'll do a show based on remakes. And we'll talk a little bit about that. All right, man, let's jump into a little bit of football here. Chip Kelly, the rumor was that he was going to become offensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, not terrible. Go to a bad team, whatever. But they hire somebody else today, actually. And now there's rumors that Chip Kelly is in contention for the OC job with the New England Patriots? What is Bill Belichick thinking, Jeff? What's going on? Because I don't even know how to ask this.
I'm going to tell you what Bill Belichick is thinking or starting to think, because we talked about it earlier. He's under the impression that he can win with anyone doing anything at any position or any coaching spot. He has won games. Jimmy Garoppolo went out there and looked like a very good quarterback. It's turned into a hot potential trade bait this offseason. Yeah. He's turned LeGarrette Blount into a star. He gets these guys, Julian Edelman, who everybody thought was just a Welker clone that wasn't going to be a good athlete, turned out to be one of the best receivers in the game right now. So Belichick is probably under the impression that, if anything, Kelly adds a little bit of spice. He's got Deion Lewis. He's got James White. He's got some athletes on offense. Mm-hmm. Maybe Kelly can add another dimension. I don't see how it's going to work with Brady. That's why I think it's kind of ridiculous. Josh McDaniels does a sensational job with Brady. They're saying he might take another job. I don't know. But Belichick believes, in my opinion, that he can put anybody anywhere and keep winning football games.
It's weird. So, is this going to be a thing where Chip Kelly gets installed as the offensive coordinator if he gets the job? I don't think he's going to get the job. But if he does, is this going to be one of those things where, they just throw a guy there, but he really has no say on what's going to happen?
It's very possible. A guy that I used to say that about, and a lot of people rip me because a lot of people like this guy. Back in the day in Indianapolis, when Peyton Manning had Tom Moore as his offensive coordinator, Tom Moore's a knowledgeable football guy, veteran of coaching, been around a long time. But how much of it was really Tom Moore and how much of it was just Peyton Manning's overwhelming knowledge of football?
And skill. His absolute skill.
I mean, do you really think if Tom Brady comes back next year and Chip Kelly's his offensive coordinator, you really think it's going to hurt Tom Brady?
No.
I
don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to buy into this system. He'll be 40, and I don't see Brady running any bootlegs or rollouts in the Chip Kelly style or doing a little Chip Kelly little fancy handle. Look, Kelly's an innovator. The innovation may not be for the NFL. I'm a Philly guy, and I remember the same way every other Philly person out there listening did when Kelly's offense first hit the field in that Monday night game against Washington, and Michael Vick put up 60 points on the Redskins. They were getting ready to give him the key to the city, Kelly for mayor, all this stuff. It's a different system. It's not NFL brilliant. Doesn't mean Kelly's not a decent coach. It's college stuff. That stuff in the NFL is not going to work.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with that. I honest to God, I don't think he's going to get that job. I think it's just smoke and mirrors and Bill Belichick trying to, create some type of news. So
sure.
Real quick, if you're not watching it, if you want to tune into your televisions while you're listening to us, President Donald Trump and his First Lady Melania just came out for the Liberty Bowl, and they're dancing to Frank Sinatra's My Way.
Beautiful.
Interesting stuff. All right, let's jump back into movies real quick. Interesting stuff here. Ryan Reynolds has hinted that Hugh Jackman will be in Deadpool 2, but that Pierce Brosnan was going to be in it as well as Cable. This is interesting. I never thought Pierce Brosnan would play this kind of a character, number one. Number two, I just don't see him as Cable. I really don't. If you look at, and I know looking at a comic picture of Cable, they're not going to mimic him after that. But Cable is a big dude, muscular as hell, man. I mean, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan's not a big guy. So it's interesting to me that they're going to be going with Pierce Brosnan on this. Do you know who Cable is, Jeff?
I'm aware. I know a little bit about Cable. I'm not the in and out comic book hero guy like you are. I know the essentials. I, of course, saw Deadpool and loved it. I'm a fan of Pierce Brosnan. So when it comes to getting good actors into these roles, I have no problem with that. I think Deadpool, I think Reynolds has done a great job with it. So I think he carries it no matter who's there. And if Pierce Brosnan seems off, he could probably work his way through it. We've been through this before, though. Michael Keaton as Batman drove everybody into a frenzy until he got on screen in the first one, at least, and did a real good job.
And then Tim Burton ruined it?
Yeah, well...
For forever.
Ruins everything. I think the Christian Bale saved the day, though, I believe. But...
Nope, Val Kilmer.
Oh, my God, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, terrible. Terrible Batman.
Not
Terrible
Val Kilmer,
Batman.
man. No. Val Kilmer could play Val Kilmer in a movie better than Val Kilmer could.
I think he's done that, hasn't he? Val
Probably.
Kilmer is Val Kilmer. He used to be good back in the day. Like, he was, when he was Jim Morrison, I mean, you really thought that was Morrison. I mean,
No, he was, listen, man, he was great. He was
amazing.
great as Jim Morrison. He was great in Top Gun. He was great as Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
Yes.
Can't put
Yes,
that past
totally.
him. He was great in Real Genius, one of my favorite movies.
And he sucked as Batman.
You know what? I actually kind of liked him as Batman. But see, but I'm not a big Batman. Listen, I'm a Batman. I'm not a big DC guy. I like DC from the 60s. You know, Dr. Fate, Sandman, Johnny Lightning. That's the kind of DC stuff I like. You know, Ghost Tank and stuff like that. 60s Batman, Adam West, Burt Ward, Batman 66,
Wow.
stuff like that. Michael Keaton played a good Batman. He absolutely did. But I think Michael Keaton can pretty much play anything and make it a very good go of it.
Agreed.
I kind of liked Val Kilmer as Batman because he brought kind of a suaveness that Michael Keaton didn't bring to the role. You know, as a Bruce Wayne, because he's supposed to be a suave guy. So I did kind of like it. I did. Oh, also, Val Kilmer, Mad Madigan in Willow. Can't knock it.
Yeah.
So, you know...
I'm looking at an interesting list here of potential Cable actors for Deadpool 2, and they've got Stephen Lang.
Before you name anybody, my top pick, Dolph Lundgren.
I got to see if he's on the list. Stephen Lang, Ron Perlman, who I like.
Yeah, he's not a big guy, though. I mean, he's, you know, a lot of the Hellboy stuff was a lot of suit and makeup.
Dolph Lundgren is on the list.
My boy
Another
Dolph.
interesting... Here's an interesting one, John Hamm, who I love. I think he's great.
I
think he's good.
Yeah, no, he's good, but I don't... Yeah, I get... You know what? I could see him as Cable.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and then the last one is extremely interesting. Ready for this? Mel Gibson.
If Mel Gibson was Toller, absolutely. Because, once again, talking about how good of an actor Michael Keaton is, Mel Gibson can pretty much play any part. And I don't care.
Yes.
And listen, I know he pissed off a lot of people with all the stuff that he did years ago. Most people are past it. But Mel Gibson is a phenomenal actor. Always has been, always will be.
Yeah, I've always been a fan.
Yo, man, let's get Tom Hanks to bulk up.
He could play anybody.
He could play anybody. He could play a 2-year-old kid. He could.
He did it. He did it big. He played a 8 or 9-year-old boy. That was phenomenal.
And Tom Hanks is just. There's very few actors that you can put in a role, and they can just crush it no matter what it is. Yeah. Tom Hanks is one of them. The second, John Lithgow.
You're a big fan, and he is good. I know you're a big fan of John Lithgow.
In The Crown, you had to see him play Winston Churchill. My wife went nuts because my wife's really big into the whole English monarchy and stuff. She said him as Winston Churchill, you would have believed that it was actually Winston Churchill in this role.
Wow.
He's phenomenal. John Lithgow can play any part. No question about it. And I'll fight anybody tooth and nail on it.
I'm a Leo guy.
What?
I like Leo. I think he
plays the same part in every movie.
But he does all the biography stuff, rather. The biography movies. And I love it. I love him in everything.
His best acting, by far, was Growing Pains, and he sucked on it.
He was great on Growing Pains.
No, he was awful.
Didn't see the show. No, okay.
Was he like a little druggy and stuff on it?
No, I think he was like a
little dirtball kid.
Or lost kid or something
Luke
like
Brower.
You have derailed, but I like Leo. I think he's good.
No, he's good. Listen, there are a couple of movies I really liked him in. What the hell's the name of that movie? The one with him and Tom Hanks. Catch Me If You Can.
Outstanding movie.
Love that movie. To me, that's the best movie that Leonardo DiCaprio has ever done.
That is an excellent movie.
Frank Abagnale Jr. Oh, and I gotta say, I liked him in Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
But after that,
he
sucked in The Quick and the Dead, and that was a great movie.
Well,
he sucked in it.
I wouldn't say he sucked in it. I thought the whole movie sucked. Basketball Diaries, phenomenal.
Actually, I'm gonna one up you on this. The best role he ever played, because you really thought that there was something wrong when it was Arnie Grape in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, that was really good. Also, absolutely.
He doesn't get enough recognition for that movie.
No, he really doesn't. But man, that was a great movie. What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and like I said, Basketball Diaries was really the first movie I grew to be such a fan. That was just a excellent movie. He was good in a lot of stuff. I like.
Was that pre-teen Porrini?
I liked a lot. I'm sorry.
Was that pre-teen Porrini watching that movie?
Yeah, pre-teen. I've been pre-teen in a long time. I don't think Leo was even born yet.
You were 47 when that movie came out. That was, what, 95?
That's another guy. We'll save his name for another program. Guy with the high school at Abe Lincoln that we both know very well.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, Great Gatsby was another good one, too.
Yeah, it was decent. That was decent. But I would say, to me, Catch Me If You Can, Gangs of New York, What's Eating Gilbert Grape are the best roles that Leonardo DiCaprio ever played. And Growing Pains, Luke Brower. And that was just, he was terrible in that. I don't care what anybody says. He was god-awful. All right, man, what we're going to do right now is we're going to shift over and play a little music, my friend. And what we're going to do is we're going to play Insanity by one of the hottest rock bands out there right now, Lilith and the Night. So listen in, enjoy, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes, and we're going to talk a little bit more, so enjoy.
You got
Insanity. Insanity. Now you know you lost your mind in the darkness of the night. You can seek and you will find me extinguishing the light. Yes, you come to your open, it was all a dream. But you still hear that voice in your head as it screams. You worthless piece of you're never going home. And then there's silence, but you know you're not alone. Now you know you lost your mind in the darkness of the night. You can seek and you will find me extinguishing the light. Now you know you lost your mind in the darkness of the night. You can seek and you will find me extinguishing the Now you know you lost your mind in the darkness of the night. You can seek and you will find me extinguishing the light. Now you know you lost your mind in the darkness of the night. You can seek and you will find me extinguishing the
Oh man, there you go. A little bit of Lilith in the Night to get everything running here on the Stoop. And Jeff loves listening to the show loud on his phone while we're doing stuff.
Got to get that song, man. Listen to that song any way I can get it.
There you go.
Massive, massive fan of Lilith in the Night and the amazing Lilith herself. Big friend of the show. She's a big fan of the show. We're a huge fan of hers. Love it, man. I love her stuff. She is going to be something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll make sure of it, that's for sure.
Oh, it's the last thing I ever do.
Okay.
I want her
All
to
right.
be bigger than me.
I want her to be bigger than everybody.
Well, yeah, I agree there.
Screw the president. We want some Lilith.
Lilith for president.
Lilith. All right. Before we jump into our next topic here on the Stoop tonight, let's talk a little bit about the Stoop magazine real quick. Jeff Weinstein with another great article called Get Your Jackets, It's Time to Go Home, Part 1, Kiss. He's going to profile 3 bands. Part 2 comes out tomorrow, Guns N' Roses. Part 3 comes out Monday, AC/DC. He's basically saying that it's time for these bands to grab their jackets and get the hell out of here. They're done. They're over. They're kaput. Jeff, real quick, what do you think?
I'm going to agree with 2 of the 3. I saw Guns N' Roses this past summer and thought it was still a really good show, and I think they could hold their own a little bit longer. Kiss, as I told you the other day, born and raised as a Kiss fan. My brothers had Kiss everything. And as a young kid, I was into Kiss, loved them. The original four, got to see them live. Ace, Peter, Paul, Gene. Andy Moore had been through so many changes and makeup on, makeup off, and different lineups. And to me, that's past. There's only so much more you can get out of it. AC/DC, again, loved AC/DC. Now Brian Johnson's gone and Malcolm Young is gone. It's pretty much Angus and like a band of people he puts together. So 2 out of 3, I agree. I think AC/DC is time to just call it quits and we thank you. And Kiss, we thank you for brilliant stuff. I think Guns has a little more left. Might see them in another couple of years. But, look, there's no shame going out on top. Motley Crue did it. Motley Crue went out, did it the right way. People say they'll be back. They actually took out a lawsuit against themselves that they had the right to sue themselves if they go back in concert. So,
which I think is phenomenal.
It's amazing. One of the greatest things I've ever heard. I tell that story to everybody. I love it. I've watched their final concert on YouTube a couple thousand times because I just love it. And I love how Vince cries at the end, and it's great. I did. I think it's great. I mean, pack it in before it's too late. Athletes have to do it. Musicians should have to do it. Kiss, AC/DC, again, great run. It's time to hang it up.
Agree. Terry Bay, Giopani fan on Twitter, sent this in just a little bit ago. Longtime Kiss fan of 40 years, saw them last year. The act is the same old thing. Fans just go for the show. Possibility, but I'm sure the show has taken a lot of steps back. Listen, I've never been a big Kiss guy. I'm the first to admit it, and I'm one of the biggest rock and metal heads you can think of. Just never thought they were that good, to be honest. They had a couple of good songs. I just thought that there were so many bands out there that were so much better than them, but they got over because of the entertainment value that they put into their shows, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Hey, 4 guys dressed up like demons, especially coming out of the 70s. Damn, nobody was hearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I just didn't think musically, And they're brilliant guys. I mean, Gene Simmons, brilliant guy. He's pretty much got everything locked down, and he's gonna go one of the richest men probably ever.
Sure.
Ace Frehley, he's set for life. Paul Stanley, Chris, everybody's set for life. I just never was a big fan of them, so I'm okay with Jeff's article. Let him go. I'm pretty much the same way with Guns N' Roses and AC/DC now too. That's just how I feel. I thought. I was kind of sick of all the Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose crap throughout the late 90s and most of the 2000s. So it's like when they came back, it was just, I didn't care, It was
a good show. It was worth seeing. Speaking of your love for music and metal, and a band who certainly isn't going anywhere, and they shouldn't because they're just outstanding. 29 years ago, yesterday.
Yep.
Megadeth.
Amen.
Released that album, So Far So Good, So What? 29 years ago. Wow. Ooh. And they're a talented band. They're not going anywhere. Them and I know we talk a lot about the Metallica sellout and all, but bands like that can still bring it live. Megadeth still brings it. It's hard to believe that album was 29 years ago, watching how strong they still go, and Mustaine still looks like a early 30s rock star. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, listen, I've seen Megadeth quite a few times over the last few years, and one of those bands that just get better and better. Super Collider wasn't a great album. There was 1 or 2 songs I did like on it, but it wasn't a good album. Risk was still the worst album they ever put out, and Dave Mustaine will come out and tell you that themselves. But Dystopia, man, from the first track to the last track, that was one of the best albums that I've heard in a long time come out of not even just Megadeth, but the metal scene. From The Threat Is Real to the title track, Dystopia, straight on down, Fatal Illusion, and just all these songs, man, just Post-American World, Bullet to the Brain, Conquer or Die. And when they play these songs live, man, let me tell you, this is one of the best live albums that you could play, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. So it's really, really, really good stuff. So, yeah, I mean, we'll just keep it flowing, and we'll see what happens with Jeff Weinstein in this next article, which is coming out tomorrow morning, and he talks about Guns N' Roses. So fans, listeners, let us know what you think. Should Kiss pack it up and go home? Read tomorrow's article. Let us know if Guns N' Roses should pack it up and go home. And read the article Monday and let us know if AC/DC should pack it up and hit the highway to hell.
Well played.
Right, let's talk a little bit of NBA real quick. The All-Star starters came out. Russell Westbrook is not an All-Star starter. He has more triple-doubles than every single starter on both the East and the Western Conference team. The guy is playing lights-out basketball. Steph Curry, James Harden made it into the guard spots for the Western Conference. I spoke to you about this personally, Jeff, and I said Steph Curry should be off the bench. Russell Westbrook deserves to start this game. Russell Westbrook came out and said, I ain't worried about no all-star nods. I'm here to win championships, which is why I love Westbrook's tenacity. What did you think of this snub? Is it a popularity contest, and do they have to get rid of the fan voting?
Yes, and yes. We talk. I'm not a huge Westbrook guy. I really don't know why. The guy's a phenomenal player. Probably, at the moment, when you look at his stats and what he's playing, probably the best player in the NBA. No disrespect to LeBron or Steph Curry or anything like that, but Westbrook is playing lights-out basketball. He's been phenomenal. Mm-hmm. The All-Star Game is a popularity contest. We've known this for years in any sport. The big campaign in Philly was to get Joel Embiid into the All-Star Game. I don't want him in the All-Star Game. You know, he's playing limited minutes as it is. Let him stay healthy. Mm-hmm. Westbrook did the classy thing. He's not worried about an All-Star Game. Must win championships. The All-Star Game today, I was talking to a few colleagues, and I said the All-Star Game in the NBA is a glorified Harlem Globetrotters game. It's all razzmatazz. There's no fundamentals in it. It's just a track meet. And if I'm Westbrook, I do one step better. I don't even show up. Or if I show up, I don't really want to come off the bench.
Yeah.
I'm focused on the big thing. And he played in the shadows of Durant. Now he's the man in town, and he's doing a phenomenal job, and I respect him 100% for not really worrying about it.
Interesting. Yeah, if I was in his shoes, I don't know what I would do. It is a snub. He deserves to be a starter. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to play if he gets it on the bench. He's going to get it on the bench. There's no question about it. I'm sure he's going to go and play because why not? On the Eastern side, Isaiah Thomas, 5'9" guard from the Boston Celtics. How the hell is this guy not a starter? His team is third in the Eastern Conference at 26-16. He's averaging 28.7 points per game, 6 dishes a game, and he's shooting 46% from the field. And DeMar DeRozan and Kyrie Irving got over him. This is another snub, but this is underlaying everything because Russell Westbrook is the bigger snub. Isaiah Thomas should have got a nod easily as the East starter. And I would have put him in, to be honest, over Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. What do you think?
And there's nothing wrong with that. That goes right back to the popularity contest and Kyrie Irving and Cleveland and all this nonsense. Thomas is a guy that you've been riding from day one. You've always been an Isaiah Thomas fan. You've talked about him. And I started watching him and said, this kid really plays great basketball. And here he is, like I said, he's kind of taken over the Boston Celtics. He's had an incredible year. Again, if Westbrook was a starter and Westbrook was in and that wasn't the big story, Isaiah Thomas would be the big story because it's a major snub.
Absolutely. And I've told you for a long time now that he is one of the most underrated players in the game, and he's starting to really make a name for himself in the NBA at just 27 years old, and he's been in the league since I think 2011-12. He played with Sacramento. He went over to Phoenix. And he shines wherever he goes, and it showed. I mean, even in his first couple of seasons in the NBA, he was doing some good stuff, and he was just a underrated player. And it's amazing if you look at the Celtics roster, he's leading this team to the third position over the East. And you look at that roster, and I hate to say it, but teams like the Knicks have a better roster than the Celtics. But, man, when you got a leader like Isaiah Thomas on the floor, he's really mushing these guys together of Jaylen Brown, Jay Crowder, Marcus Smart, Gerald Green, Terry Rozier, Amir Johnson, Kelly Olynyk. It's like, Jonas Jerebko. Most people wouldn't even know those people. And they're third in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, I'm going to go down as saying that Russell Westbrook, Isaiah Thomas snubbed his starters. But I love Russell Westbrook's comments where he came out and said, I don't care about no All-Star nod. I just want to win a championship.
It's perfect.
You got to love a player like that, man.
It's the kind of guy you root for.
Like that. Absolutely.
That's what we're about here on the Stoop again. That's the kind of guys we like. We like the heart and soul player. I mean, and we've had these Carmelo Anthony talks and this bounce back and forth. I don't want to root for a guy who had a good run and now he's just living off reputation. I want to see a guy like Isaiah Thomas and Russell Westbrook give it their all. And that's why I like Embiid. Embiid is playing hard for a team that people put in the bag years ago, making the Sixers relevant, making it on Twitter, making us news, and it's fun and it's funny and he's passionate. That's what you need, man. So sports is about, to me, it's about the passion. It's about wanting to be out there, wanting to win, not just, I was a superstar a couple years back, pay me and I'll show up and be a star. That's garbage. And that's why your Knicks are suffering, no disrespect. The Derrick Roses, the Carmelo Anthonys, and you get a poor kid like Porzingis in there, and he's going to suffer because of these prima donnas.
Okay, well, let's talk about that real quick. We were going to talk about it at the end of the show, but since you brought it up, let's bring it up right to the thing. So, all this crap going on with Carmelo Anthony, he's not going to waive his no-trade clause. He meets with Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson asks if he wants to remain a Knick. He says yes. Now he comes out today, or is leaked out today, saying that if the Knicks want him out, they need to ask him. He will consider it. He'll probably waive his no-trade clause. You know me. I want him to waive it. I'm a big Knicks fan. I want them to get whatever they can get for him, and I want them to build this team around Kristaps Porzingis because the kid's the real deal. Now, this is tough. Are they going to have to trade some of their youth to go at Carmelo to get another team to pick up the rest of his contract? I don't want to see them get rid of Willie Hernan-Gomez. I don't want to see them get rid of Mindaugas Kuzminskas. I don't want to see them get rid of Kyle O'Quinn. I don't want to see them get rid of Justin Holiday. Or Marshall Plumlee, in that matter. So this is tough. It really depends on... I believe if he waived his no-trade clause, he would have went to the Clippers. Because him and Chris Paul really want to play together. Now with Chris Paul being out with a broken finger for, I think, the next 6 to 8 weeks, don't know if that's a viable option. Houston, I just don't see him reuniting with Mike D'Antoni. I don't see that. They didn't mesh together. They didn't like each other in New York. So let me ask you this. Melo waives his no-trade clause. Do you actually see the Knicks finding somebody to take him?
No. I got to say no. Who brings him in? A lot of the winning super teams are where they are because of the chemistry. There's no way he's going to go to Houston and mesh with James Harden. It's not happening. Mm-hmm. Sure as heck isn't going to Oklahoma and playing with Durant. There's no room for him in Golden State. And nobody in the East, I think, really wants this guy. If he waives his no-trade clause, he's going to maybe go to a team that's looking to do some kind of crazy back-end retrade thing, and it's a bad situation. Here's a guy that has put the Knicks in a terrible situation.
Yeah.
He's not viable. I mean, he's not playoff clutch where you say, hey, let's get in Carmelo for the playoff push. Guy hasn't been in the playoffs in forever. Doesn't even know what the playoffs are all about.
Yeah.
You're kind of stuck.
I mean, even looking east, your team, Philadelphia 76ers, they're not going to offload youth to bring in somebody like Carmelo Anthony. They're jiving right now. Robert Covington just hit a great game winner over Portland tonight. Yeah, they now have won 8 of their last 10 for the first time since 2012.
Yeah, and they still got to get Simmons back, so there's no room for Anthony. Once Simmons comes in, you have no room for Carmelo Anthony.
Listen, he's not going to the Warriors. I don't see him with the Cavs. I don't see how that he can even work trade-wise. Lakers are not breaking up that young core. He ain't going to the Spurs, which to me would actually kind of be interesting.
That might be the only possible home for him because of the way Popovich's system works as a team, and he doesn't have to be or want to try to be the man. If anybody can help him, it's Pop with the Spurs, and I don't see it
Yeah,
happening.
but see, at that shooting forward position, Kawhi Leonard, man, he is way above Carmelo Anthony. And what are you going to do with Carmelo? You're going to play him at power forward? Then what do you do? I know Pau Gasol's going in for surgery. Now he broke his hand last night. But how long is he going to be out? What are you going to do with Pau Gasol when he comes back? What are you going to do with LaMarcus Aldridge? He's a better power forward than he is a center. So it's tough. Bulls, that would be interesting, actually. It depends on what they can get back for him, but I just don't see them bringing him in Carmelo Anthony. Oklahoma City, no, he ain't meshing with Westbrook. Houston, absolutely not. Toronto would be interesting, but Toronto's got their own thing. Celtics, supposedly the Celtics want him, and he wouldn't mind going to the Celtics.
Oof.
If they can pry, and this is tough, if they can pry, I would love to see them get Jay Crowder. It's tough. Jay Crowder, and it's tough because I don't know who they would get else on Jay Crowder. So if they could package something around Jay Crowder, I would love to see Jay Crowder come to the Knicks. I think they need somebody that can play defense, finally, because nobody plays defense on his team. He's only 26 years old. But would they bring in a Carmelo Anthony, and can he mesh with Avery Bradley, Isaiah Thomas, and Al Horford? I don't know, but let me tell you, if they brought him in, I think that gives him a boost for the playoffs. Because, listen, I don't hate Carmelo Anthony. I still think he's a fine player. He's just a fine player on a different team. He can't be in New York. This is a team that needs to rebuild.
I think they should send him to Chicago and bring in Jimmy Butler.
Oh, man, I would absolutely love that, but it's not happening.
I know they keep every time you read these rumors about Butler being dealt or John Wall being dealt. I just keep thinking of Sixers, man. You got to get rid of Okafor, make a move, get one of these guys in here. Get a guy like that.
Interesting. If the Knicks do go that route, move Porzingis up, if they could somehow get rid of Noah, I would take Okafor in as the power forward for the Knicks.
He deserves a different scenario than he's in. The other night, he was benched and didn't even play a minute. And it's ruined out we were doing a guy like this. I know a lot of people in this town rip Noel, but I think Noel fits the Sixers system better because he's a defensive guy. You can get the blocks and get the boards.
Would love to have Noel.
I like Noel.
Would love to have Noel in New York.
I like him. I'd rather have him than Okafor. No disrespect to Okafor. Guy's not a bad ball player. Doesn't fit the system. If you're going to go with Embiid and Ben Simmons is coming in, you got to keep Noel.
Man, thinking of a Knicks roster of Porzingis at the center spot, Noel at the power forward spot. Just because he's on a roster, let's put him in there because he is a fine player. Kuzminkis at the small forward position, shooting guard, tough. You got to get rid of Courtney Lee. He's just not fitting the system. He's not fitting the team. So that's tough. Who you can get at shooting guard. Interesting. And then point guard. Rose is actually having a good season, man. I'm actually really impressed with what Rose is doing, and he's just, man, is somebody going to sign him to a bigger deal than what the Knicks could actually give him? Because I don't want to see them sign him to some 5-year deal. I don't want to see that. If he takes a 2-year deal with an option on the end, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's going to be an interesting trade deadline. I think we need to do a trade deadline show that day, so...
Bring back Tommy D and see if he'll join us and talk some hoops. Chucky Brown, Tommy, and let's get a whole gang in here. Let's get Carmelo Anthony.
We got something coming up with Chucky Brown, but we're not going to tell anybody yet. So just be on the lookout. Former NBA champion Chucky Brown and the Stoop. Something's going to be going down real soon. So
he's a big friend of the show, Chucky. Great guy.
Okay. All right. So we left this towards the end of the show because I wanted to give it a little bit of time. We had so many deaths in the celebrity world in 2016 that really just shocked the crap out of all of us. And unfortunately, we have another one as of yesterday. The great Miguel Ferrer passed away at 61 due to throat cancer. If you don't know the name, you know him from NCIS. You know him from RoboCop. The movie Blank Check. He was in a lot of stuff. He was the son of the legendary Rosemary Clooney and the legendary Jose Ferrer. His cousin is George Clooney, who put out a wonderful, wonderful tribute today about him. And he said, and I quote, "Today history will mark giant changes in our world, and lost to most will be that on the same day Miguel Ferrer lost his battle to throat cancer, but not lost to his family. Miguel made the world brighter and funnier, and his passing is felt so deeply in our family that the events of the day, though monumental, pale in comparison. We love you, Miguel. We always will." It's funny because I just watched Blank Check. I don't know if you remember that, Disney's Blank Check.
Yeah.
I just watched the other day. I saw it on, I believe it was Amazon Prime. And I said, wow, I haven't watched this in many, many years. Let me watch it. I put it on, and he's just a phenomenal actor, Miguel Ferrer. I mean, he was on Twin Peaks. He was actually in the middle of doing the new Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
You know, as Albert Rosenfeld. He was coming back into it. So it's a shame that he's gone, of course. It's also a shame that he's only 61 years old. He was still young. He had a lot of stuff left in him, a lot of acting. And we're gonna remember him from so many things that he did, because he's been in so many things. He did roles on Magnum PI, on Chips. He was on Star Trek 3, To Search for Spock.
Yep.
Trapper John M.D., he was on a few episodes. He was on a lot of stuff. And then here comes RoboCop, where he plays Bob Morton. And man, was that such a cool thing.
He was such a weasel in that movie, though. He was such a weasel.
Snorting coke on his thing with the hookers and stuff.
Yeah, the hookers, yeah.
Yep. It was he was so good in that movie, and then he just came out and he was in Vice, Miami Vice. He did Drug Wars, the Camarena Story, and then Twin Peaks hit. And he played FBI agent Albert Rosenfeld, and he was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal. And then he did, other movies, and like I said, Blank Check, where he played, the villain Quigley in it. He did The Stand. He did a couple of things from Tales from the Crypt, I remember, just off the top of my head. And it's a shame. Miguel Ferrer was an incredible actor, big in his circle, but pretty much underrated to most. So this is a big loss in a world where it comes to movies and television. Miguel Ferrer is a very big loss. He's now gone. He reunites with his mother Rosemary and his father Jose, both legendary actors. So I just want to say to rest in peace, Miguel Ferrer. Thank you so many years of entertaining us, and every time, thank you for leaving your mark, because now we still get to see him in movies and TV shows. And that's and I think that's the one good thing, Jeff, about music, movies, and television with big stars, is that they really never die. And it's the truth.
Very true. Yep, absolutely. Like I said, you sit there and you listen to people that died recently, and like I told you, I had that weird experience a couple nights ago where I was sitting here and I had on my Apple Music, and right in a row, boom, 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 came on Stone Temple Pilots, David Bowie, and Prince.
Yep.
Three guys that are gone, but it lives on through their legacy, what they left behind, and you can still enjoy them. And we lost a lot of talent between last year and the beginning of this year, but memory lives on, and we celebrate them, and we thank you.
Absolutely. All right, man. Just looking at this, overcoming ESPN right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves and Detroit Pistons are discussing a deal. The Pistons would ship Reggie Jackson to Minnesota for Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, Rubio has been a very hot rumor that he's being moved out of town.
I would take him on the Knicks.
Oh, I would like to have a home for him right here as well. When he came in the league, it was a lot of big hype, and I wasn't really buying into it. And then you watch him play, and the guy is a very good ball player. He handles the point well. I'd love to have him here. But, they said his time in Minnesota's up, and they're looking to find a home for him. He was never crazy about his time in Minnesota to begin with.
He didn't want to be there.
Right.
But he really made a notch in the Minnesota franchise history for himself. And he's been there for quite a few years now.
I want to say 7 or 8, am I right?
Yeah, he's only 26 years old. He's been there since the 2011-12 season.
About 5 or 6 years. Okay.
Yeah, so this is his 6th season. And listen, Minnesota's got a young core. and I hate to say it because he's 26, but unfortunately in the NBA that's like 44. And, they want to give the starting point guard spot to Chris Dunn. And I see that they want to do that. He's only averaging 7.7 points per game this year. Doing good on the assist end, 7.9 dishes a game, but he's shooting 37.1%. He needs to go to a team that needs a point guard that's going to dish the ball, not worry about scoring, like your Philadelphia 76ers, like my New York Knicks. So I think there are quite a few teams that would love to have and love to utilize Ricky Rubio.
I don't know where the dollars and cents are, but again, not an NBA GM, but a guy like Okafor bringing in Rubio, that'd be phenomenal. Great starts. Like I said, again, with Ben Simmons coming, you got Rubio and Ben Simmons and Noel and Mr. Philadelphia. All of a sudden, Joel Embiid. You got a hell of a team. Just spitballing.
Just spitballing, huh?
Just spitballing. We need basketball to be relevant in this town again. We have to. This was the home of Dr. J and Wilt and the late great Chocolate Thunder Darryl Dawkins.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, and Chuck Barkley. So it's a town that needs basketball. Allen Iverson. There's been some big names passed through this town. It's got to get good again, and it's getting there. It's getting good.
Absolutely. All right, so what we're going to do is, because we love Lilith in the Night so much, we're going to play a second song for tonight, and then when we come back, we're going to discuss the NFC and the AFC Championship Series, and then we're out for the night. So listen to this song. It's called Formaldehyde by our good friends Lilith in the Night, one of the hottest up-and-coming rock bands out there right now, and we'll see you in about 4 minutes. Enjoy.
If who's bleeding
God, I love that song. Absolutely love it. That was Formaldehyde by Lilith in the Night, one of the hottest rock bands up and coming out of England. I guarantee you're going to see them on a stage near you in the U.S. real soon. They are just phenomenal. They're making waves. Can't wait to see them here, man.
Absolutely. She is the perfect star for me. She is beautiful, sweet, talented, badass. There's not a bad word you could say about Lilith. Amazing. And the band, they're a very talented group. Great guys.
Absolutely.
Great band. Love them.
Absolutely. Good stuff. All right, man, let's jump right into the NFC and AFC championship games coming up this weekend. First, we'll stick with the NFC game. I want to get your opinion on it, and I want you to tell me who you think is going to win, Jeff. So it's the Green Bay Packers versus the Atlanta Falcons at the Georgia Dome. Who do you have in this game, and why?
I'm going to stick to my guns where I originally started the playoffs with. I'm going to remind everybody again that I'm 8-0. I have not lost a game this playoff. I'll gladly say that. You can listen to the previous shows at www.stoopradio.com to get my original picks. And I'm sticking with them. I'm sticking with the Green Bay Packers in this one. I know Atlanta's offense has been phenomenal. They're at home where they play better. According to Vegas, they're a 5-point favorite. And if you look at the history of 5-point favorites, it's a very jinxing number. 5 is a bad news number. I don't bet against Aaron Rodgers right now. I love the guy. He's red hot. He made plays in that Dallas game. Even though they were well ahead and Dallas came back, Rodgers is keeping his cool. He's that guy like the other year with the RELAX. That's the Rodgers you got right now. When that guy's hot, you can't put anybody above him. Mm-hmm. I know Atlanta's going to give him a challenge. Green Bay's defense is all kinds of banged up. But somehow, some way, again, Packers find a way to win. I don't like the 60-some point over-under. I think it's going to be a little lower. Got about a 31-27 Packers win. I see Aaron Rodgers getting back to the Super Bowl.
Very nice. I'm actually going to go with Atlanta on this. You know me. I want to see Atlanta win. I'm okay if Green Bay goes. I want to see Green Bay win the Super Bowl because we'll talk about the AFC, but I can't stand either of those teams. Don't want to see any of them go. I want to see Atlanta do it. I think they deserve it. Aaron Rodgers has been there before. He's won a Super Bowl. Would love to see Matt Ryan win one. I think this is going to be his year. I do not think the Green Bay secondary can hold Julio Jones man on man. I really do not think so. And if he burns them and Matt Ryan continuously connects with him, I think that's how they're going to run up the score. I'm not going to go with numbers. I'm not, because I'm usually terrible with that. I'm just going to go and say the Atlanta Falcons are going to win this game. And I'm pretty terrible at pick'em, at least this season. So I feel bad for Atlanta. I'm sorry that I jinxed you guys. But I want you to win, so I'm going to go with you. In the AFC, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the New England Patriots. Who do you got? Go.
Again, we'll go back to my prediction from the start. And I said if there's one team out there to give New England a run, it's Pittsburgh. They didn't look great in Kansas City. They're not a great road team, and that's where their problem lies here again. But to bet against a team with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Big Ben Roethlisberger, the suddenly resurgent James Harrison, who's back playing crazy, I still go New England Patriots, man. Tom Brady, the Belichick team, they're on course. They had a rough time with Houston. Houston's got a very good defense. Brady figured it out and got that win. He just figures out ways to win. The guy knows how to pick teams apart. Like I said, and everybody says, if you get pressure, if you can get to Brady, you can throw his game off. I don't see Pittsburgh's defense being that old-style Pittsburgh defense. They're not going to bring enough heat to Brady. I think he'll have enough time. Their secondary, again, as we talked about, isn't great. New England at home is super tough to beat. Sticking with Brady in a dream Super Bowl matchup, Brady versus Aaron Rodgers, Packers-Patriots. I got the Patriots winning this one. Again, you don't want to do numbers. Numbers are tough. I'm going to go maybe 30-20. I think New England holds on like a 10-point lead. They're like a 4-point favorite. Or, I'm sorry, 6-point favorite in this one. I like them to cover it. I like a 10-point game. And New England. I like New England here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh because I cannot go with anything New England. And I hate both of these teams, man. Seriously, I'd rather see the Miami Dolphins, who used to be one of the biggest Jets fans. I'd rather see them defeat both of these. I'd rather see the Buffalo Bills defeat both of these teams than see the Steelers or the Patriots go in. But I honestly think whoever goes in, neither has a chance against the Packers or the Falcons in the Super Bowl. That's how I feel. You're going New England. I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Couldn't be any more different on that one as well. Gotta love it.
Just how it works out.
Hopefully I go 2 for 0 this time around and you go 0 for 2, Mr. Shark.
Haven't lost yet. I'm sticking to it. I've been ripped, as you know. You see it on Facebook. My brother's got a lot to say. He's ridden the 8-0 bandwagon, and so I know you're listening out there. I know you want to hear the picks. Those are the picks.
The
Packers,
picks.
Patriots. The picks.
The picks. All right, man. Before we end the show, real quick, I just want to say this to you, of course, Jeff, and I want to say this to all of our listeners, especially of our basketball and Knicks fans. A little earlier today, screaming Stephen A. Smith came out and said on Carmelo Anthony, he will be gone by the deadline or by the summer. Larry Brown Sports reporting that between Phil Jackson confidants saying Anthony has worn out his usefulness in New York and reports saying some Knicks in the front office want to get rid of Anthony, it wouldn't be a shock to see him traded. So it looks like he will be gone by the deadline or by the summer. So pretty much means that next season Carmelo Anthony will not be a New York Knick. And I have to say, I'm excited. Very excited.
I was pretty excited about my Stephen A. Smith impersonation. However, there's a guy who shouldn't be on TV.
Give me some of that Alberto beef jerky.
Maybe we should put him back on a show again with Skip Clueless.
Oh, God, man. Those guys were just...
Two idiots. That's something we haven't been on the air since. Bayless just going and totally kissing Dak Prescott's butt and congratulating him on outplaying Aaron Rodgers and way to show class as Dallas is packing up their bags and going home. I mean, you can't. I know sportscasters are supposed to be fair, and this guy's riding Prescott, whose team just got done losing, and here he is praising him. It makes no. I mean, really, does that make any sense whatsoever? I mean, Bayless this guy's a jerk.
You're just sick of him.
I keep going to his Twitter page waiting for him to bite. You know, he's got like thousands of followers on Twitter. You know how many people he follows?
How many?
0. He follows nobody.
Skip?
He's just that. Oh yeah, he's just that jaded into himself. He's an ass.
Most of those guys are. You know, there's some good guys out there.
You think he's 8-0?
No. No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, there's guys, you know. Right.
Little NFL news breaking right now. Former Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Gus Bradley has agreed to terms with the Los Angeles Chargers to be their defensive coordinator. How do you feel about that?
It's weird enough saying Los Angeles Chargers, but nice move. I like Gus. He's a guy that almost ended up in Philly. I would like to have had him here. Good football guy. I know he had a bad run. Jacksonville just seemed like they were going to be a team this year to put it together, but they've got a quarterback who is a total enigma. You don't know what Blake Bortles is. They've got good wide receivers. They don't have a great running game. They don't have a great line. So bad rap for Gus, but definitely a guy that deserves a job right away. I mean, if they're trying to give Chip Kelly a job, Gus Bradley deserves a key to a city.
Yeah. Interesting to see what's going to happen. You got the Chargers moving over there. The Rams left St. Louis, and now the Oakland Raiders look like they're going to Vegas with their fifth Beatle owner. So,
yeah, shocking. Very shocking.
Whatever. It is what it is. It seems like, it's setting up for, more teams to move, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I wonder if any will move to Mexico or to England in the near future. Jaguars to England? The London Jaguars?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess Las Vegas is finally, after all these years of being just the gambling capital, and they want to keep sports out. I mean, they got the NHL in there now. They're going to have the NFL in there now. So maybe soon a baseball team, too. Maybe the Arizona Diamondbacks should move to Vegas.
Why not? I'm shocked the Phoenix Coyotes haven't moved there yet.
Yeah, guess they had their chance. But it's good. I mean, Vegas is an action town, and obviously it's going to generate revenue, so it's not a bad move. I'm just surprised to see the Raiders doing it. I mean, Al Davis's kids took over, and he's the guy that drives the old Chrysler minivan. He's not in the flash. He's not in the money. And he picks his team up and rolls to Vegas. So, confusing. Very confusing.
All right, man, but that's pretty much it for tonight. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in, listening to everything that we had to talk about tonight.
That's a lot.
We will be back sometime real soon. We will let you know. Just keep an eye out on our Twitter and our Facebook account. We will promote it, put it out there. As of now, February 11th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, a special Saturday show, as we will be joined by actor Kevin Smith from When the Heart Calls on the Hallmark Channel. Big fan of his. Loved him in Eureka as Sheriff Andy, the robot. Pisser, hilarious. Love him on this. As Leland Coulter. I'm a big Hardy, so I really am. I'm not just saying that because he's coming on the show. I am, and I'll talk When Calls the Heart with him. You'll see. I'll talk Eureka with him. I don't even have to prep for this, Jeff. It's gonna come flowing, man. Can't wait. Really looking forward to it. That's February 11th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time with Kevin Smith of When Calls the Heart. And we got some other guests coming up. We're in the middle of talks with them. We have some incredible guests coming in from the worlds of music, movies, television, sports. Really looking forward to it. And we got something cooking with former NBA champion and our very good friend Chucky Brown.
Chucky.
You're going to love this. People are going to love this. I know it. I know it. You will love it. Jeff, you're going to love it too, man. I know I already love it.
I always love it. I love everything that happens here.
Da 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 da.
I'm living it.
All right. Well, on that note.
We always seem to bail out once we start singing. It's usually our cue to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we just want to thank everybody for tuning in on this very historic day. Very historic day. As Donald J. Trump is now our 45th President of the United States of America. Would you have ever thought of this? I don't think so.
Never.
But congratulations to Donald Trump. We hope you do a phenomenal job. We call on you to do a phenomenal job to help the American people, to keep things good, and to make it better. Go by what you said. Make America great again. We're looking at you to do this, President Trump. You got our support until you screw up. You screw up, we're going to be the Americans that fight you. So, Once again, congratulations to Donald Trump, 45th President of the United States of America. Rest in peace to great actor Miguel Ferrer. You will be missed. Carmelo Anthony, you will not be missed in New York.
Got that in there.
All right. So for Jeff Porrini, I'm Jonathan Ragus. We'll all see you next time on the next episode of The Stoop.
Enjoy your weekend and a presidential edition of Don't Be a Douche.